Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm David Yeck here.
And I'm Susan Keller-Horn.
And you're listening to Yak About Today in Film, where you never know where the show will go. So sit back, watch us, or get up, put your headphones on, go for a run, and listen to what we yak about today. Hey again, thanks for listening or watching these days on Facebook, where we go out live once a week, and we go live twice a week.
Yes, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sorry about that. Anyway, we've got a great show. We're going to talk about a new film called The Addict's Wake. We've got the director here, Michael Husain, and we have our very own Carrie Lester here from the Substance Awareness Center. So we're looking forward to that conversation. But first, what do you think we should talk about here?
I think we need to talk a little bit about the festival.
The film festival.
Yes.
So the Vero Beach Film Festival. So, we had talked about volunteers earlier in our other show, but I'd like to talk about volunteers again in this show. We need volunteers, as most organizations do. And, there's a lot of amazing work that volunteers do for us, responsible for our venues and getting our movies on and getting the parties on and the dinners and arranging everything. And, it was just brought up to us recently by our very own Ellie Courtney, that it's a great place to make friends, to learn about film. It's a really, truly enjoyable experience. It's sort of a lot of work, don't you think?
It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And when we're talking about making relationships, I've made some of my greatest friends doing the film festival. I never expected that. And I go places with them. I do different things with them beyond the film festival. But even more so, I can't guarantee this for everyone. But Jerusha, our founder, she met her husband through the film festival. So it's just a fun thing to do. You work hard and you play hard, and we have parties and we have films, and it's just a great time, and it's a great way to attend the festival if you're not able to get a pass.
So what you're saying is get rid of Tinder and all those apps, because
Yes.
now you can meet somebody at the festival.
You can find your spouse.
At the festival. The other thing is our tickets, of course, our passes are online. You can go to vbfilmfest.org, and we don't say that enough. It's vbfilmfest.org.
Yes.
And it's where you'll find out how to volunteer, how to buy tickets. Oh, and our schedule is up now, which is great. It took us a while. Every one of our films is up, and the trailers that go with them. So I think it's actually
You definitely want to look up the films and the trailers and see what films you find interesting, and then you can go into the schedule and figure out where they're at. One of the things I think that we still need to identify, though, is we have some different segments of dramatic shorts, so we need to differentiate which ones go where. But the films are fantastic. You get to see trailers. You can really learn a lot about the films on our website.
And the festival has about, I think, just under 100 films this year.
Yes. I think it was like 93 or 94 films. And that doesn't mean there's all 93 or 94 or an hour and a half. There are a lot of shorts. We have comedy shorts. We have dramatic shorts, which are little mini narratives. We have documentary shorts. We have Vero Visions, which is local filmmakers. And then we have student shorts, which are one of my favorite areas. I love the student shorts. So they're called the Next Up Student Shorts. They're a lot of fun.
You know what everybody's waiting to hear about are the parties.
No, they want to go to parties too?
They do. I mean, and by the way, we've gotten very, very good. For those of you who have attended our white party or attended our Oscar party, they are very good parties. In fact, everybody keeps telling me maybe you don't want to do a film festival next year. Maybe you just want to throw parties. And then, of course, we answer, no, we're a film festival first.
Yes, I love the films.
Yeah.
The films are so much fun. I love watching them to select them. I love watching them at the festival. One of the things I find is, even though I've seen almost every film that's in the festival, I find that seeing it on a big screen makes a huge difference. It makes the films even that much more special.
Yeah, it's better in many ways, better than watching on Netflix or watching. Oh, but actually, a lot of the films that we show, you don't find on Netflix or you don't find on Prime or the other services. And they're very special films, and many of them don't get the distribution they deserve.
This is their only opportunity to have people see their films, and it makes it a lot of fun. We do get some of our films do eventually go for distribution, and we have some films that are just about to go into distribution that'll be in the festival. But most of them don't have that opportunity, especially the shorts. So you really want to make sure you come see them at the festival, see them on a big screen, and it's a lot of fun.
And we do have an Oscar-nominated film. We've got films from Sundance. We've got films from Cannes. So we have a lot of great, these days you say content, right? But a lot of great films.
We do. We have a very eclectic set of films too, so people will find something that they like for sure.
We can't really be talking all day. We have guests here, and we want to talk about these films.
Yes, we do. We need to talk to Michael Husain. I hope I'm saying your name right, Michael.
You absolutely are.
Oh, good. Okay. He is with the film The Addict's Wake. And Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about the film?
The Addict's Wake, as the title would suggest, is about the subject of addiction. It's a feature-length documentary, and it is centered in one small community. And the idea was to use this community, Brown County in Indiana, as an example of what is happening in every county and community in America. And it's a county that in 2017 lost 6 young men in the course of about a year to overdose deaths. And in a community of 15,000 people, that's a pretty enormous impact on the future of what that community might be. And the community certainly rocked by it, but then found a way to begin to search for answers, and then started to unify, and through that unification started to find a path out. And so addiction is sort of it's a vexing issue because it is so individualized. So, as somebody told us off camera one day, if there's 1,000 ways into addiction, there's 1,000 ways out for an individual. But communities have an opportunity to fight back a little bit, and it starts by there are sort of 3 or 4 key things that we learned through this. One is you have to start talking about it. There's a lot of communities still that believe that there's a shame and a stigma around addiction, that there's a moral failing of the individual using or the family that couldn't help them enough. Any number of ways that manifests itself. And what this community did was one of the young men who died was a part of a very prominent family. A mother was a school teacher, father's a pastor. And instead of kind of going into a shell of grief, those parents actually opened up and started sharing that they had been struggling with this for years, did their best to find their way out, couldn't do it. And then as they started talking about it, others started talking about it. Well, we're struggling with this too. And so it's a small community, it's a local newspaper, but the local newspaper began to talk about it. The young man's use started in the high school there in Brown County. The school started talking about it. The sheriff's department, which oddly enough is located directly across the street from the school, the sheriff said, look, I've been doing my job. I've been finding people who are using and putting them in jail and then going out and finding others. And that's what I'm supposed to do. But he was also self-aware enough to look at it and say, well, what I'm doing isn't working. So how do we do something better? How do we find something that will work? And so all these different groups, faith-based groups, lots of business leaders, all started to come together and communicate. And this, instead of siloing off an effort in one sector or another, not really knowing what the other was doing, they all started talking together. And that unity really set them on a course that has improved the situation significantly. It's not as if it doesn't exist anymore. There will still be doses and overdose deaths that happen, but there is an awareness and an ability to communicate. A lot of people who are in recovery or attempting recovery will tell you that the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. And there is an enormous sense of connection inside this community now. And so it's a story of some pretty amazing individuals inside what I just described. There are some amazing individuals who go on this journey. And so that's our story.
Well, I think we need to cut to a break, but when we come back, one of the things that I found amazing in your story was an organization that was set up called Recover Out Loud. So when we get back, I would love to talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely.
Dr. Stephen Tate offers the safest and most efficient technique for customized cataract surgery. Patients are personally counseled on the best approach for their needs and lifestyle. From multifocal lenses that allow for distance and reading vision to toric lenses that correct astigmatism, let New Vision Eye Center guide you safely through your options. For world-class eye care on the Treasure Coast, visit newvisioneyecenter.com.
Who's got time to clean? When you need it clean, call Germ Wizards LLC. Using the most up-to-date equipment, Germ Wizards pays strict attention to detail. They make dust disappear. Whether you need your office to sparkle, your home to shine, or you want to give someone a great gift, hire the Germ Wizards. It's easy to get a quote online. There's even an online portal to discuss details directly with your cleaning professional. Visit GermWizardsLLC.com. Make dust disappear with Germ Wizards.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal, Four Seasons, and Capri. We have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington with styles designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. Right now, we're having a summer sale with lots of great markdowns, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet and closeout store directly across the street and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, how is sunshine day? Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, how is sunshine day? Sunshine.
And we are back. I'm David Yakir here with Susan Kellerhorn, and you're listening or watching Yak About Today in Film. You know, before we continue the conversation with Michael and we bring on Carrie Lester, I just want to remind everybody that for the last 8 years, almost 9 years, come to think of it, we've been sponsored by New Vision Eye Center. So we thank them for the sponsorship. They make this show possible, and everybody knows I wouldn't trust my eyes to anyone else. So I'll turn it over to Susan now.
Well, I actually would like to introduce Carrie Lester. She is with the Substance Awareness Center, and she is our sponsor. This is one of the first times we've brought one of our sponsors for the festival into the room here, this dark little black room. Anyway, we have invited her here because she is sponsoring this important film, The Addict's Wake. And Carrie, please tell us why you decided as an organization to sponsor this film.
Yes. When I was working with Jill, I thought it was really important and a great opportunity for us to shed a spotlight on addiction. And I feel like that's our job and our responsibility at the Substance Awareness Center, is to shed the spotlight on the problem. And when Jill handed me this wonderful documentary, The Addict's Wake, to view, I knew it resonated completely with the message of our organization and the work we're trying to achieve here in our community. And when Michael talks about this Brown County, it is truly any county in America. Nationally, over 100,000 people 100,000 Americans lost their life to an overdose death. And so it is ravaging small towns, large towns, any community across our nation. And we are not immune to the problem here in Indian River County.
No.
Our overdose rates have gone up significantly, almost 70% from 2020 to 2021. It is impacting our community right here. And really what our organization, the Substance Awareness Center, works to do is to reduce the impact of substance misuse in the community. And so we have Prevention Works initiatives where we target adolescents. We do evidence-based prevention programming. We have a coalition that works to mobilize our community. But we also believe recovery works. For adults who developed a substance use disorder, people can and do recover. And so we share the hope and beauty that recovery is possible. And so that was my kind of one marching order to Jill was, if there's a film that we're going to spotlight addiction, it has to share the hope of recovery, not just the war story of it. And, Michael and his team did an amazing job sharing the story of Brown County. And so we want to bring that story here locally and shed a spotlight and perhaps prompt the conversation for our community to have a larger conversation around what more we can do. We are doing a lot of things well here when it comes to prevention and recovery, but there's a lot more we can be doing. And that is our hope.
That's great. So, Michael, are you going to be at the festival, or are we Zooming you in, or how is that going to be?
The plan is to be there, yes.
Oh, awesome. I'm so glad you're going to be here.
Our executive producer, Lisa Hall, and hopefully a couple of members of people who are in the film will be available via Zoom as well.
And so you and Carrie are going to be leading a conversation after the film to talk about what's going on with addiction.
Yeah, conversations are a critical launching point. Acknowledgement of the issue, and then let's talk about it. And that's the way you begin to solve any issue. Certainly this one, it's critical. And so and organizations like Carrie's are just huge points of value inside of a community, because if you don't have a hub, if you don't have a place where people can begin to connect, it's that much more difficult. So you have Carrie, you have an expert and a person of passion, commitment, that's great for your community. And then bringing in the proper stakeholders, as Carrie was talking about, that's the next big step. How can we make a change in acknowledging what's happening in schools? And if you don't think it's happening in schools, you're probably mistaken, sadly.
Oh, I know it's happening in schools.
Yeah. And so anyway, yeah, that's Carrie and her organization. We couldn't be more grateful that they sponsored and are supporting the film.
Hey, Michael, just to go back to the film itself, how did Brown County feel that you were spotlighting them, and the public relations that was going to follow? They must have had some feelings. Where did they come out on this?
It's a great question, and one that's completely relevant to Vero and your county, and your area. Because Brown County is actually, you don't necessarily think of Indiana as a tourist hub, but Brown County is a beautiful little place. It's set in some hills, and it draws several million tourists a year. And so Lisa Hall, our executive producer, lives in Brown County. And so, yeah, we were concerned about that very early on. Like, how do we do this? And what we found was the attitude was actually part of the answer. The attitude was, we know that we have to talk about this. We know that we need others to learn from what we experience. And so we didn't get any pushback at all. We had unbelievable access into the school system, into the jails and the law enforcement system, the county prosecutor, uh, uh, faith-based groups, because church is a big part of that community, um, and the local newspaper, you name it. No one wouldn't talk with us. Employers who are trying to find people who will work and support recovery. There's some risk there, right? Is this person stable enough to be reliable for work? And most of the time, if you're well into recovery, the answer is yes. But so employers talked with us. There wasn't anyone who didn't share, and even more importantly, didn't share very vulnerably, very deeply. I think if anything is true of the film, it is very vulnerable and very intimate in terms of the details of the struggle, and the pain that can happen, and then how you claw your way out.
Harry, I have a question. How does Vero acknowledge, or Indian River County acknowledge in the same way that there's a problem here?
Well, I think we are making progress and we are doing better. And again, that's a lot of the work that our organization does. We have a great partnership with our school district. And so for probably almost 2 decades, we've been providing evidence-based prevention programming universally to all students in our school district. And so we've been able to, set the stage and set the foundation in a nice public health way of building some immunity and building some skills and resistant skills against the substance use disorders. But sometimes there's still that disparity of it is a they problem instead of the truth is addiction knows no bounds. It is rampant beachside, and it is rampant in all of our pockets of poverty in our community. And so when we can come together and we can say it is a we problem,
Right.
the reality is, and this is a pre-COVID data, I hate to even know what it is today, but 1 in 7 Americans will suffer a substance addiction in their lifetime. And so if you think of 1 in 7, that is almost one of us sitting in this room here. And then the ripple effects to that, because it is a family disease. It impacts the families, the loved ones, and the neighborhoods. And so, there are probably truly, when you walk in a room, there isn't somebody who hasn't been impacted by addiction. And so we need to start that conversation. And, we say once upon a time, people whispered cancer. And now we have great walks in celebration, and we need to start to do the same. We need to move that needle when it comes to addiction and recovery. And that's why for our organization to share the hope and beauty that recovery is possible. And, I am proud to be a woman in recovery. We have a lot of people in recovery on our staff. We have a great, strong recovery community, but it can't be in a silo, and it has to be, our whole county that is embracing the issue and embracing the solution. As an organization, I believe strongly in, we don't sit in the problem, we move to the solution. And our partnerships with our sheriff's office, with our problem-solving courts, with our school district, with our youth-serving organizations are wonderful, but we need to take it to the next level because we are in the midst of an opiate epidemic and crisis.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, both of you, for sharing your stories. And I'm really excited that we're going to be showing The Addict's Wake at the Vero Beach Film Festival. It's going to be an awesome film. I highly recommend you go see it. But we do need to talk a little bit about the festival now. So, David.
No, I did want to get one more point. When we met you, Carrie, Jill was adamant in finding the perfect film for you. I remember, every day Jill and I would get on the phone, and then one morning she calls me. Actually, she emailed me first, and she said, "Got it. I got the film. I'm sending it over to her." And I feel like we created a marriage here.
We did. It's awesome.
Right. And we can't wait because we're going to get you live on stage talking about it, and communication is everything to what you're doing.
And if you want to
Thank
watch
you.
The Addict's Wake, you go to vbfilmfest.org and get your passes now.
Bum, bum,